Okay, this is video number 4. Continue on Vav Amud Aleph and with the words V'tu Leika Ve'ika. Know what these words mean, please. Know how to identify these words. V'tu Leika and the no other cases of Patur B'dinei Adam V'chai B'dei Shemayim Va'ika. There are other cases. Now we list 5 cases. Again, you have to be able to identify these 5 cases. If I write it in English, you have to be able to tell me the words that appear in the Gemara. So there are elements of the para aduma. The mechatas is water, which is going to be used with the afer, with the ashes of the para aduma, or in the para aduma itself. And you're not allowed to do milacha, any sort of utilization for it for any other purpose. So in the mechatas, if you use it as a counterweight on a scale, that would become pasul. And it's costing money. But yet it's called hezek she'eino nikar. Know those 3 words, please. Hezek she'eino nikar, which means that the damage which is done is not recognizable. It's spiritual damage, which makes it unusable, but the item itself looks exactly the same. So that's patur b'dinei adam, because I did not do any recognizable damage. V'chayab b'dinei shemayim. Yet since I'm costing the guy money, whoever it is, the Beis Hamikdash, whoever it is, I should have to compensate. The ha'ika, there is another case besides the 4 of Rabbi Yeshua. Hanotein sama mavav ne'be'emat chavero. That if I go ahead and I put in the feeding place some sort of poison, and then the behema goes and eats it, and I cause the death of the behema, because I did not push the animal to go there, make the animal go there and eat it. But yet I cost the guy money. I have to pay Dinei Shemayim. Va'ika Rabbi Shua, there are other cases. If I go ahead and take the flaming coal and I give it to someone who's irresponsible. A cherish here, by the way, means someone who's deaf and dumb. And it was, in the world of the Gemara, that person was considered to be irresponsible. A shotem means someone who doesn't have clarity of thought, and a katan means a kid. And in those cases, they go ahead and they wave, they give air. What's the word I'm looking for? To the coal, and the fire starts, and it causes a fire. But because I didn't do it directly, yet it was my negligence of giving something so dangerous to somebody responsible, and therefore there is another case for Rabbi Yeshua. If I go ahead and scare somebody, as a result of that, they trip, they fall, they get hurt. Because I didn't do anything with my hands. There are other cases, Rabbi Yeshua. I was carrying a jug in the public domain, and it broke. Now all the pieces are on the ground. I say it's hefker. It's not mine anymore. I don't want it. Therefore, I don't clear it up. Now, flag gamalo. I had a gamal, and unfortunately, had a heart attack right in the middle of the road. I just leave it there. I make the carcass hefker and I leave it there. I don't bother getting it up and getting it off the road. And then, as a result of the shards of the cod, or because of this gamal, some sort of accident happens, and somebody loses some money. Rav Meir mechayib as I can. So Rav Meir says you chayav even dinei adam, your responsibility. V'chachamim omrim patur b'dinei adam v'chayav b'dinei shamayim. So you see, Rav Yeshua, why are we only talking about 4 cases? There are many more than 4 cases. So Rav Yeshua now answers. In this phrase, you need to know. Yes, mia ikatuva. Yes, you're right. There are many, many cases of patur b'dinei adam v'chayav b'dinei shamayim. But these is strictly, I had a need to go ahead and emphasize and tell you, because you might have thought the halacha was different. The 5 you just quoted, everybody knows. The 4 cases that I quoted, you might have thought you even patur b'dei shamayim. Now we go one by one. Mahu tzema b'dinei shamayim nami lo l'chayev. That I might have thought in these 4 cases, even b'dinei shamayim, I am not obligated. Kamash malan. Comes Rabbi Yeshua and tells me these 4 cases I am. Why would I have thought of these 4 cases that I'm patur b'dinei shamayim? The Gemara explains. In the first case, ma'u tzema. you might have said, what might I have said? Kavan to the Mr. Since we're talking about a Kotzer Ra'ua, and it was destined to be taken down anyway, Ma'avid, so good. What did the guy really do? Good, the guy has no fence now, and he has to rush, and he has to. But at the end of the day, I didn't cost him any money because he had to replace the fence. B'dinei shamayim nami lo chayev. Maybe dinei shamayim, I don't have to pay him. Dinei adam, certainly I don't have to pay him. Maybe not even dinei shamayim. Kamash mala, no. That since at the end of the day I cost him some sort of loss because he might have to get a more expensive wall now or whatever it is because he has to do a rush job, I have to compensate him for that money. Case 2. Hakofev komatol shel nami ma'od tetema. That also I might have come to the conclusion lema that the guy that goes ahead. Remember the first case of the first description of kofev komatol is where I move it from place A, which was totally safe, to place B, where it now is in reach of a ruach she'eina mitziyah, an unusual wind. So lema, the guy that does it, can say that I know that there was going to be a ruach she'eina mitziyah. Know this phrase. That I know that I have to anticipate that there was a ruach she'eina mitziyah. Uvidinei shamayim nami lo chayev, and he doesn't even have to pay bidinei shamayim. Kamash malan. Comes Rabbi Yeshua and says, no, that if you go ahead and you put it within harm's way, even for an unusual case of ruach she'eina mitziyah, bidinei adam you're going to be patur, bidinei shamayim you're going to be chayav. Rav Ashi, according to Rav Ashi, to Amar Nami Talmud Ismar, that he said that we're talking about in a case where, again, Reuven lit a fire in his backyard. It was negligence. Started to spread to Shimon's backyard. Levi sees it, and he goes ahead and he covers over Shimon's materials. And as a result, when the fire does consume Shimon's materials, Reuven doesn't have to pay, and Shimon is out money. That's the way that Rav Ashi described the case. So Rabbi Yeshua says, I needed to tell you is chayab b'dinei shamayim. Mahu t'tema, what might you have said? Ana kasuye kasiseina halech. That the guy says, I was just trying to cover it over. I was being a good Samaritan. I was trying to do a favor to Shimon by covering over. Uvidinei shamayim nami lo chayev. And in Dei Shamayim also I'm not going to be chayav. And Tosa says that if I go ahead, and even if my intentions are good, if at the end of the day I did something which may turn out bad for Shimon, namely, he's now out money because Reuven no longer has to pay. Levi is chayav b'dinei shamayim. Kam ashmalan, that Levi has to pay b'dinei shamayim. We learned that there are other opinions that say that in this particular case we're talking where Levi's intentions were sinister. He knew that by covering it over, he may be costing Shimon money. And he's just using this as you'll excuse the pun, a cover-up. But if indeed he was just really, in his heart of hearts, he knows that he was just trying to be a good guy by covering over Shimon's materials, then maybe even B'dinei Shamayim would be patur. So it's a machloket, Tosfot, and other Rishonim. Case 3. V'asocher edei sheker. What would I have thought by Nami? I also would have thought that maybe he's patur b'dinei shamayim. Because I might have said, Lema, let the guy that hired the edim, Reuven hires 2 edim to testify that Shimon does not owe Levi any money, even though he really owes him $1 million. That he'll say, Divrei Harav, Divrei Atamid, Divrei Mishomim. This is not my fault. The edim should not have listened to me. The Rav, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, told them to say Emet. I said to do sheker. Why did they listen to me? They should have listened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not my fault. It's not my doing. And Dinei Shamayim nami lo chayev. And maybe in Dinei Shamayim, Reuven shouldn't have to pay either for hiring 2 false edim, because they never should have listened to him. Kamash malan comes from Yeshua and says, "You are chayav." And also case number 4, where again the case is that I am aware of testimony. I know that Reuven borrowed from Shimon $1 million. I was the one aide. There's only one aide, one witness, and I withhold the testimony. And as a result, Reuven does not have to swear, because we said if I would have come to Beit Din, if Levi would have come to Beit Din and given the testimony, Reuven would not have to pay, but Reuven would have to swear that indeed he does not owe the money. And when it comes to swearing, people are a little bit reticent and they're more likely to tell the truth. So what you might have thought in this case, if Levi withholds the edut, he need not go ahead and pay any money even today Shemayim. Why? What might have said? That Levi will say, Mi Amar, who knows? That if I would have come and given the testimony, having Modeh, that Ruvain would have been Modeh. Ruvain would say, okay, I'm not going to swear l'sheker, I'm not going to swear falsely, and I'm going to pay the $1 million. And therefore, by Levi withholding his testimony, he's really costing Shema money. Dilma, maybe, having Mishtabel l'shikra, maybe Ruvain just would have taken the shvur sheker, would have lied under oath. So my staying home and not saying anything really did not cost Levi anything at all. And maybe I don't have to pay, even Levi doesn't have to pay even b'dinei shamayim, because maybe he didn't cause any loss. Kam mashmalan. Because Rabbi Shua saying no, the chances of that happening are next to nil. Probably is not going to happen. If Ruvain were forced to swear, he'd probably go ahead and tell the truth, and therefore b'dinei shamayim you have to pay.